Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. I'm Susie, the owner and creator here. So yesterday was a big day in the world of crafting. The new Iron Orchid Designs holiday release came out. I have been working my fingers to the bones for 2 days to create something from every part of the release. So I'm going to be showing you guys all those projects today. Yesterday was the release, so I'm sure you have seen the products, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce them to you again. And I decided to go ahead and stick with my Wednesday release because I really only have time to do one video a week. I'm so excited about this, y'all. I even put makeup on, I think maybe for the first time this summer. So if you're excited, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the stamps. And the first stamp we are going to start with is called Portobello Road. This stamp is so cute. It's got all these little doors and windows and people and scenes. And I can just imagine all the amazing things that can be done with this. I did not have a lot of time to work with this, and I'm not that great at using masks, but I really wanted to try something. I had this frame, and it has had the word farmhouse on it for a long time, and it never sold that way, and it's actually a chalkboard paint. So I'm going to use the erasable chalk liquid in white. That is what I'd used on it before, and it really is erasable. I don't know that IOD still carries this. I've had it a long time. So I have got 3 doors and a couple of windows, and I'm just going to put it on this long frame to make it look kind of like a street row. And I have just inked up my pad with the erasable chalk liquid, and using a thin mount, I have got the doors and the windows, and I'm just going to stamp them on. When you're stamping, you want to hold your stamps in position and use your other hand to press down on all of the parts of the stamp. So I've got the little lighthouse on the end there and the little topiary. And about now I put the mask on top of the windows, and that's about when I realized that I should have done the window boxes first, because what you stamp over needs to look like it's behind. But because I used the erasable liquid, that was no problem. I just erased the windows and started over. I put the window planters on first, and then the mask over them, and then stamped the windows directly over. And the mask prevents the ink from getting on your previous stamp and makes it look like the on top stamp was done behind, and it's so cute. So now I'm going to mask up everything. You want to wait till your ink dries before you go putting your mask on so it doesn't smear. So my ink is dry, and I have put mask on everything. And another element of this stamp is the little bricks, and they are connectable. So where one ends, you can add another one in. So I decided to go ahead and stamp over the entire thing using the bricks, so it looks like this is a row of like brownstone houses in the brick. And I just went over the whole thing with the brick. I could not get around the edges really well because of the way that the frame sits, and I still feel like it looks good. It's a little too busy for me, but it was a really good way to show you how to use these stamps with the molds. And I have some other ideas for some more upcoming videos with this stamp that I can't wait to show you guys. While I had this stamp out, I couldn't resist doing one more thing, because that bakery is my absolute favorite. And I've got plenty of embroidery hoops, and I have a bunch of these old linen napkins. Some of them are pretty stained, but I can always use the parts that are not stained, and I'm going to use those for quite a few things in this video. For this stamp, I'm going to ink up with the red ink, and this is that bakery. It's one piece. It fit perfectly inside of this embroidery hoop. And I love the detail of this stamp, and it looks so amazing on this linen fabric. And then I just put it back into the embroidery hoop, tightened it up, and cut the excess off the back. I may go ahead and stamp a word or something on the bottom that just says sweets or something like that, or I may just leave it as is. I think it's super cute the way it is. Moving on to stamp number 2, and this is Winter Adornment. It has all these beautiful Christmas florals with the holly and the poinsettias, some roses, just lots of really nice greenery. You can see they made a wreath here on the back. This is a 2-sheet set. And I'm sorry for the glare here, but sometimes with the lighting it'll do that. I've already got a couple of these swags picked out that I want to work with. And I have a bunch of these canvas tote bags. I bought a bunch of blanks off Amazon a while back. They're really cheap, and I'll try to link the ones that I got. I like to give these away with gifts sometimes. Teacher gifts, these are great. Just little appreciation gifts. So I'm using a couple of these and stamping these on with the black ink just to make kind of a little frame. And y'all don't hate me, but I still have some scraps left from the Christmas Valley transfer book from last year. I only used one, and I was so sparing with it that I still have quite a few little things left over from it. So I'm going to try to use them up this season, because that stamp is, if you don't have one, you're not getting one at this point. But I never use this red cardinal, so I'm just going to transfer him on to the bag as well. I thought the red popped really well with the black, and I love all the details in these stamps. I'm going to be using this one for a lot of projects this winter. And I'm going to do 2 bags here. I'm going to use a couple of different swags, and I'm going to use the red ink. And I really like the way the red ink looks with these stamps too. I haven't tried the green yet, but I imagine that it is also amazing. For this one, I'm going to use this same swag over and over, and I'm going to make a wreath. Just going to go all the way around, and it looks kind of square, but then I'm going to take some of the smaller elements from the stamp and just fill in all the blank spaces to make it look more round. Anytime you're stamping, if you get some ink onto your thin mount like I did there, you can take a baby wipe to wipe that off, because sometimes if you're not careful, you'll get that on your canvas or whatever you are stamping on. So as of right now, which is Wednesday morning at 6:30, all of these are still available on my website, susieonthefarm.com. So if you haven't already snagged your new IOD products, don't forget to hop on over there after you watch this video. I'm going to put another little transfer on this one and then do one more little bit of greenery, because as you can see, I did get a little bit of red ink on there, and I didn't want the deer to just look like he was suspended in the air. So I'm going to stamp one more little element on there, and I think it just completes this little tote bag perfectly. I also couldn't resist doing one more with a little embroidery hoop. Look how cute that bird looks with this Winter Adornment stamp. I think y'all are really going to love this stamp and all the different things that you can do with it. y'all prepare yourself for the cuteness of these next two stamps. If you haven't seen them, there is the Christmas kitties, and oh my gosh, look at those eyes. The one over the present on the top there reminds me of the way Nacho looks at me when he peeks up over me at things, and I just cannot stand how cute this is. I forgot to mention earlier, when you get a new stamp set, you want to condition your stamps with a little bit of 220 grit sandpaper. I like to do mine before I take them off the backing. They will not move around on you, and it's super easy to do. This project is going to be so simple. I saw it on the back of the next stamp, and so I knew immediately that I wanted to make some wrapping paper. I've always liked to use brown wrapping paper, or paper bag wrapping paper. And these stamps on this are perfect. And everybody knows that we are a kitten household. We have 3 dogs and 1 cat. But we sure do love our cat a whole lot. He's very spoiled. So I thought this would be a perfect addition to our Christmas wrapping paper. So I've just got a big sheet here, and I'm just going to leave the kitties on this just like they are and stamp all over my brown paper, wrap a couple presents with it, and this is just so perfect. These little kitties are so cute. There's going to be a lot of things I want to do with these stamps too. They're very versatile. You could use them on a card. You can do wrapping paper like this. There's just all kinds of cute little things you can make with these Christmas kitties. So somehow with my first order, I missed the Christmas puppies. That is the next stamp that I want to show you. I'm going to do the same thing with them. I did get them ordered in my next one, but then that package got lost in shipping. Hopefully it makes it here soon, because I can't wait to get my hands on these little puppies and do my wrapping paper and all kinds of other little projects. Now let's move on to molds. Our first mold is going to be Oh Christmas Tree, and I ordered a bunch of this one because it is so gorgeous, and I know that it is going to be a big seller. So this one has incredible detail, so much, and nothing brings out detail more than resin, if you ask me. So I'm going to use some amazing casting resin. I use this sometimes, and I also use the 24-hour resin. They work the same way. This one just works a lot faster. So you want to mix half part A and half part B. You want to stir them really good, but with this amazing casting, this 10-minute resin, you don't want to waste any time. You want to get it poured in your mold ASAP, because if you don't, your resin is going to start setting up before you get it all poured. See, when it starts turning white, I can tell that it is setting up. So I got the rest of it poured really quick, waited about 10 minutes, and it's ready to pop out of this mold. Popping out these resin castings is so satisfying, especially on something like this that you know is just going to be amazing. Wish I would have mixed up just a little bit more resin, but I still think this looks so great, even with some of the thinner spots, I guess you could say. I mean, no tree is perfect anyway. And right when you first take it out, if you have any little hangies, you can always get them off. And I had this wood board, and this fit absolutely perfect on this board. I did the stars and I did the garlands, and I decided to actually leave it just like it is. It looks like a big old snow-covered tree. Let me know if you guys think I should paint this. I had a lot of projects to do and not a lot of time to do them in, and I really love the way that this looked like it is, and I love this Christmas tree mold. What do you guys think about this one? Our next mold is called Ginger and Spice, and I'm a little on the fence about this one. It's so stinking cute, but I'm so bad at painting details and stuff like that. But I think this is going to make some super cute ornaments. I didn't have time to do that today. I had a bunch of bottles already spray painted, and these are actually whiskey bottles, but that's okay. We're going to be able to cover up any sign of that. People are going to know what they are, but they're different, and I think these jars are actually very pretty. So I'm going to use air dry clay. Anytime you're using clay in your molds, you want to dust them with some cornstarch so they come out really easily. And these molds are real easy to use with clay. They have the micro rim. You just run your finger along the side of them and smooth up the back, and then they're ready to pop right out. I'm going to do some of these little candies to go around the top, and then I am going to make some molds of the smaller gingerbread girl and boy and the little Scotty dog and some candy canes. And I'm just going to put them all over this bottle, and I am going to glue them on with some E6000. Now, I couldn't lay this down because I did every side, so I couldn't lay one side down and do it. So my remedy for that, the little candies stayed on up top because they had a little, they didn't slide off. I think they grasp onto the words of the bottle. But the gingerbread boy and girl and puppy dog wanted to slide all around. The way I fixed that is after I got the molds made and glued on to the bottle, I got some painter's tape and just wrapped it all the way around to hold them on until the glue dried some. I also use an element from the primitive mold just to make a little border all the way around a couple spots on the bottle and got it all filled up. While I was at it, I went ahead and did another bottle, and I put the little girl and the boy and the dog all on one side together. And I'm going to paint both of these in red. And what's some good Christmas projects if you don't use a bright red, right? I'm thinking this may have been a little bit too bright for my taste, but we're going to go with it. I mainly just want to highlight all of the beautiful details of these molds. Somehow I got off frame when I was doing that, but I did come back and painted the molds with some green and some black, and now I'm going over them with some white wax. And I kind of messed up because I should have clear wax this first and let that dry before putting the white wax on. It would have just helped me be able to wipe back a little bit more than I was able to and have a little bit more control over how much of this wax stayed on. I was also wanting to tone down the red a good bit, and it did do a really good job of that. When I was wiping back with a paper towel, it also distressed some of the green paint and brought some of the red back in the sweaters and stuff. And I really like the way that looks, even though it wasn't really meant to be. A lot of times in crafting, you have a lot of happy mistakes, and they turn out better than they would have had they not done that. If that's going to happen with the next project too. But what do you guys think about the ginger and spice mold? I love these little gingerbread boy and girl. I haven't had a chance to use the big ones yet, but I'm pretty sure that you can actually bake with these silicone molds. And wouldn't that be cute to have some real gingerbread boy and girl cookies that are as precious as these are? For our last mold, we finally have a pumpkin mold. I'm so excited. There are two pumpkins in this mold, a big one and a smaller one. Lots of leaves, and it is so cute. It does take a lot of clay to fill that big one, about as much as filling the big sunflower mold. So I'm just working the clay in my hands. I've already dusted it with some cornstarch. It's real easy to do this big mold with clay. You just smooth your back out and then rub the sides, and it gets all the excess off. Pops out really easy in this mold. And then I am going to glue this on to a clay pot. I've still got a bunch of these, and I thought I would do a little one to put some mums in on my front porch. So once I get my pumpkin all made up, I'm gonna make a few little leaves too, and we're gonna get them glued on to the clay pot before we move on to the next step. Sometimes on your mold, you'll have just a little bit on the excess. I just take the back of my finger and gently tap around, and it easily takes care of any excess that might be left on to your mold. I'm using E6000. Normally, I use Type Bond glue. It just sets up a little bit faster, but that's okay. On this one, I knew I was going to have to let it set overnight anyway. I got all these ready and then came back the next day to finish them up. So this was a pretty big mold, and most of the time I like to paint them when they're still wet. I wasn't able to get to this one, so I had a little bit of cracking in it, but that's okay. When do you ever see a perfectly perfect pumpkin anyway? So we're just going to go with it, and I'm going to do another bright color. This is a mustard yellow. I am going to tone it down a little bit when we get done, but I'm going to do 2 coats of this mustard over my mold once it is dry, and I am going to use the pointed sash brush is great for getting in all those little details. It has some bristles on in the middle that stick down further than the rest. So 2 coats covered this clay pot really well, and then I'm going to come back once that's dry and just highlight all the leaves with some green paint, just the tops of them. I'm not going for perfection here. I'm going to distress them back too, and then I'm going to use some brown to do the stem and all the little curly cues, onto the pumpkin. After all the paint is dry, I'm going to come back with some Fusion aging wax. This is like a dark aging wax, and it goes on really good over these molds and gets in all the details. I'm using a wax brush, and then I'm going to use a paper towel to wipe it back. And when I wiped back, it did distress those leaves a little bit, brought some of that yellow out from underneath on the edge of the leaves, and I thought that was just perfect because when the leaves start turning, that's how they do. You have green kind of in the center, and then the outsides start turning yellow and orange and all those colors. And I just love how rustic and dark and everything this little mold come out on this pot. Y'all, I'm getting tired. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm never up this late, but I've been working so hard to get this video done, and the last thing I have to do is this voiceover. Went ahead and quit for the night, and I'm picking back up this morning. Y'all, we finally got to transfers, and I'm so excited to show you these. The first one is Holly Glen, and it is all of these beautiful wildlife and birds and everything, and it's so pretty. There's so many projects you can do with it. All of the stamps in this, all of the transfers in this release are the 8x12 instead of the larger ones, and I tend to get so many more projects out of that size. These have so many cute smalls. I'm going to do one easy project with this, and I can't wait to show you guys what I've chosen. So I've had these couple of frames in my stash for a long time. They were a matching set, but they had different color mats. So I am simply going to take everything apart, and I am going to give these mats 2 coats of, I think this is probably Chateau. It looks a little brighter. It may be Casement, but I think it's Chateau by Fusion. It's going to take 2 coats to cover these mats. And then I'm going to grab some more of those linen napkins that I've been using and use those as the backing. I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces off, make sure they fit in the opening. And then I'm going to put transfers onto these napkins. And I have chosen to use the... first I'm going to go ahead and glue the napkin onto the backing so it'll have something hard for me to put the transfer on. I'm going to use these precious little fox, and I am just going to center them in the mat and rub them onto the fabric. When you're putting a transfer on fabric, you have to rub a little bit harder, but also these one-page ones that like the whole piece is covered and they don't have a lot of wording, they come off super easy. I might go back and paint these frames, but I actually love the way that the brown looked with the colors in the transfer, so I may even leave them as they are. Look how sweet these are, and that is just 2 small transfers out of that whole pack. So I have plenty more projects I can do. The next transfer pack is called Fairy Merry Christmas. It's really similar to the Holly Glen, except it has fairies. Some of them are kind of Christmassy looking, but I feel like this transfer pack can be used year-round. It's got lots of greenery and mushrooms, so I feel like you can use it on anything. And there's all these wreaths. You can put something in the center of them. And look at all these smalls. I have got so many ideas. I really definitely want to make some coasters out of this. And that's the first project that I'm going to be doing today. So random mismatched coasters are something that you always see at the thrift store. I've started picking them up because these little smalls are going to go perfect on these. So these are the same size, but obviously not the same. So it's going to take 3 coats of casement to cover these. And I'm just going to get them painted up and let them dry completely in between each coat. And then we are going to put some of these transfers on them. For this little set, I have chosen these beautiful Christmas trees. They're outdoor Christmas trees. I love the muted colors in them. And I'm just going to put them on each of these coasters. And then just to give them a little bit of contrast, I am going to go around the edges with some of the wax that's left on my brush and rub it in. And then the main thing you want to do when you're making any coasters is seal them up really good. So I did like 3 coats of polyacrylic. The last coat here is not dry, and that's why you can see a little bit, but look how precious these little coasters turned out. I wish I had a couple more. I'm sure I will find some soon, but these would make great little stocking stuffers or just little small gifts, or they would sit in your tiered trays and look so cute too. For a second project with this transfer, I had these 2 little jars, and these fairies fit perfectly on them. This is one of the easiest things that you can do, is put a transfer on a glass jar. I do it all the time, and they always sell. I'm sold so many little jars, but these are just a little cute little mini like canning jar, and these fairies look so perfect on them. Okay, I have saved the favorite to the last. This is Candy Cane Cottage. This transfer, y'all, I ordered lots of it. I'm sure I will still run out, but it is so beautiful. It has all these amazing Christmas greeneries that you can embellish all your projects with. It has Santas. It has Christmas trees. It's got an old car. I love everything about this transfer. I'm probably going to have to keep myself 2 of these, but there is still so many projects that you can get done with this, so we'll see how much I can get used up. I also decided here at the last minute that I'm going to do a giveaway, and I'm going to give away one of these Candy Cane Cottage transfers. All you have to do is go back and watch this video again and count how many times I say the word cute in this video, and leave me a comment below, and I will choose a winner. And if I have lots of right answers, I will put all the names in a hat and choose one, and I'll let you know. I'll also put up a different post about this because this really just came to my mind just now, and I think it will be so fun. And I know every time I was saying the word cute, I was thinking, how many times have I said that word already? So that will be a fun little giveaway. So I have these 2 frames. They don't match. I have to paint them because I had to do some repairs on both of them with some clay where there was some chipping, but they're big and chunky, and I especially love the square opening in that one. So I'm going to paint both of these up, and I'm using the color Bellwood. It's a really muted sage green, and it is one of my favorite fusion colors. After the 2 coats have dried, I'm going to come back with some aging wax just to highlight all of those details, and it also just really deepens and richens up that paint just a little bit. So I'll show you the difference here. I'm not sure if you can even really see it on camera, but you just put your wax on and then use a paper towel to wipe back all the excess, and it stays in those little details and crevices. And just the difference, it's a very subtle difference, but this one is waxed and then this one is not. If you can see the difference, I think they look great either way. But then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use some more of those linen napkins, put my transfers on them, but I was afraid that there was a little bit of the white showing with this one, so I did go ahead and paint the cardboard backings with just one coat of white, just because I didn't want the cardboard to show through behind my little napkin. Put them back in the frames, and these are so gorgeous. I love these Santas, y'all. They are the sweetest. They got the cutest smiles on their face. Y'all, this is the most popular release to date, I believe, of IOD. So don't waste time. Go ahead and get what you need, because all of these are limited release, meaning once they are gone, they are gone. And as of right now, I know this Candy Cane Cottage is even sold out. Stockists can't even get it anymore. I was able to get another order in, so I have a few more coming, but they won't last long. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this video. Oh, I still have another project. Never mind. I forgot about this one. So this is a breadboard that I've had in my booth since I opened my booth, to be honest. It's one of the first projects I ever did. It didn't sell. I had done a stencil on it and a transfer. I sanded them really smooth, and then I'm just going to paint. This is casement over them, and we're going to put a transfer on this. This actually didn't start out as a breadboard. This was one of those paper plate holders, and I just took the backing off and filled the holes. Look at this car. He's so cute. I'm going to put him, he fit perfectly on this round board. So I'm just going to put the transfer on. And if you've never used a transfer, they are super easy. You just take your backing off, kind of lift as you go. You can tell once it releases onto your project. After you get it all rubbed on, you want to take your plastic backing and just really good rub over your image so all the edges and everything are adhered well to your project. And then you want to be sure and seal over your transfers too. I'm taking my ink pad here just to give a little bit of contrasting color around the edge. And then I'm also going to use the aging wax again. I just love the way that it mutes down the paint color and just really makes it look rich and older. So I'm just going to put it on, rub it off. I'm going to tie some ribbon on this, and I'm sure it's going to sell now. Maybe the words that were on it before just didn't appeal to everyone like they did me. So look how cute this is. Oh, I just said it again. Don't forget to count that one. So anyway, back to the video. Thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate all your views, and I can't wait to get started using more of these. So stay tuned for lots of videos coming up using these, and don't forget to get what you need to create your own projects at susieonthefarm.com. I hope y'all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I'll see you again next week.